the issue, of course, then is to examine whether the assumption makes sense. So part of it in my, I think, reading, I'm not an expert on this, but I just by accident came to this, doing something on health in India, writing about, not doing something, but writing about something on health in India. So part of it, I think, originated in the early literature on the adult heights. Whereby there was this literature which came, people were very surprised actually that when people migrated to the United States, let's say, from countries where their average height was very low, very quickly heights would start rising. And within a generation, 3 inches, 4 inches. So suddenly it was kind of recognized that, oh, so actually it's the nutrition which causes this. And very soon, I think this view gained currency that that height differences, if proper nutrition is given, will tend to disappear. It turns out actually that height differences do narrow with better nutrition, but whether they actually get eliminated has been the holy grail of the authors of this particular literature. They've been looking and looking, but not actually finding the complete elimination of the differences. So differences actually persist. So the US soldiers in the First World War actually were about, what was it, 2 inches taller than the average German soldier. But by 1955, the Germans overtook the Americans. And since 1955, no increase in the heights of the Americans, but the Germans have continued to grow about 2 centimeters per decade. So today, North Europeans actually are on the average easily 4 inches taller than the Americans. And now there's a professor at Michigan who has been looking at these for his entire life. That has been his life. And he says, I've looked through all kinds of subpopulations within the United States, white Americans, black Americans, highly educated Americans, wealthiest Americans, looking that maybe there is some subpopulation within the American population which is actually catching up with the North Europeans. No luck. Virtually no progress there. So the Dutch are now 4 inches taller, as I mentioned to you. But still you can fall back on this alternative possibility that maybe these height differences actually emerged after 5 years of age. So as long as, for this malnutrition assumption, all you need is that there is no difference for the children under 5 years of age, because that's a population of children that you're dealing with. So that you see some bit of impression of that kind of assumption being asserted in the literature in places I've seen, but careful studies actually show that that doesn't happen either. In fact, the differences begin to emerge at 2 years. And it's very interesting, actually, this one particular study which looked at the Moroccan children who are in the Netherlands, born and raised in the Netherlands, and they compared it to the local Dutch children, also born and raised in the Netherlands, found that at 1 year, if any differences you find, sometimes it's the Moroccan or even Turkish population of children which tends to do a little bit better than the local Dutch ones. But at 2 years, it reverses and it continues. By 5 years of age, actually, about 1/3 of the differences at the adult age have already materialized. So it's not that even 5 years or below, these differences actually do not exist. They do.